Hey there, welcome to this month's Real Estate Market Report, giving you all of the information you need about buying and selling a home here in North Texas. Well, you can see here I'm in HowardGroup headquarters, aka my office. Hey, but we have a lot of stuff to go over here. Now, the big story that what everyone's talking about is how long can prices go up? Because we see month after month, I do report after report that talks about values keep going up here in North Texas. There are a couple things in play with that. First of all, how many people are moving here to North Texas? It's becoming a hot spot for industry. We have so many Fortune 500 companies that are coming here, moving from other parts where they have traditionally high income. So it's kind of translating to a market correction here. But what a lot of people are talking about and saying, hey, Ben, but we have these interest rates that keep going up. And you're absolutely right. I think eventually that's probably going to have a little impact on people being able to buy because it would take people out of the market. But let's take a look real quick. I'm going to pull this up here. Our interest rates. So if we look here, this is just Forbes. You can see here on the screen, we're looking at a 5.44%. This is for a 30-year mortgage. If you can do a 15-year, it's going to be a little bit lower. If you do a jumbo, it's going to be a little bit lower than that as well. But you can see they've actually come down a little bit this week. And I had an inside source that works in the mortgage industry, and they said, we're probably good for the rest of this week, where things are going to stay a little bit low, but the Fed has made an announcement that they're going to be raising interest rates again. Now, we probably need to talk about this just for a minute, because when we talk about interest rates and the Fed raising them, that doesn't directly impact your mortgage rate. The mortgage rates actually follow the 10-year Treasury bonds. We'll get there in just a second. But what's really causing these rates to go up is that we're in a massive state of inflation right now. What that means is there's not enough stuff for the people that want to buy it. So when there's huge competition, if there's only a dozen eggs in the market, they could sell them for, a whole bunch of money each because everybody needs eggs. Now, when we have enough for that, that's fine. Now, you don't need to borrow money for eggs, but let's talk about cars, for example. Right now, we have a shortage because of the chips. So we can see short-term loans, like an auto loan, those do follow what the Fed says. So when they raise interest rates by 0.25%, your loan for your car is going to go up that much as well. Now, once it gets to a certain point, you're going to say, you know what, I'm not going to buy a car right now because these interest rates are just too high and it's going to cost me too much money. Well, that's kind of what they're banking on. They want to make it a little more unaffordable for people to buy cars. So some people come out of the market right now so inventory can build back up and the prices will eventually come back down or at least level off because there aren't as many people doing it. Then later on, interest rates will come back down and people will buy when the inventory is recovered. Now, I mentioned it before that the mortgage market doesn't necessarily follow that. Well, let me jump back real quick for one thing. If you are looking right now to get a house or get a car, you should do it this week if you can lock in a rate now, because it's going to jump up after this next week. If you can lock in something, that would be a good idea, because next week we're going to jump up. We're looking at over the next few months, we might even get to 6%. This is for home loans. Auto loans are obviously different. But we talked about here just a little bit. And the Treasury notes, now those are you can buy those from the government, and you can get these 10-year notes. You can get a 3% return on those. They're going to bump it up to 3.5%, which, it's not a bad investment. It's a very steady, it's the safest investment you can maybe make. But each time you do that, the loan, your amount for your home loan, your mortgage, goes up as well. So right now we are looking that we might get up to 6% by the end of this year. Right now it's settled down. We're at 5.44%. So if you're talking to a lender, if you're getting really close to buying a home, you should see if you can lock in now. Most won't let you do it till you're under contract. And that's a little bit tricky nowadays. But that's one thing to consider. Why things still are going up so much is because the demand is there and it's crazy. And there's not enough houses for the amount of people that want to buy it. I think we will weed out some of the people who aren't 100% ready in this market to buy a house. And I've seen a little bit on my side. Hey, but let's look at some of the numbers now for our trends. Let's go over here to sales price. This is the first one we're going to look at. You can see we have Collin County, we have Denton County, we have Dallas County, and we have Tarrant County. These are the median sales prices we go through here. So you can see we are at $550,000 in Collin County, 482nd place here in Denton County, Dallas 370, then 365 and some change for Tarrant County. They continue to go up, though each of them have leveled off a little bit here through April. The May numbers will be coming out at the end of the month, so we'll see how that goes. I suspect that they are going to continue to level out a little bit, and let me show you why. Let's look at how many new listings we have. Now, this is all over the place. This is 2019, 20, 21, and 22. We are not quite at the place where we'd want to be. Here's April. Here's April the year before. Well, April, that's when COVID hit, so we're better than April 2020. But April was sky high over in 2019. So we had hoped for a little bit stronger numbers for more listings. But if we look over here, how many we had? About 2,800 in both Dallas and Tarrant County, and about 1,800 in both Collin and Denton. Did I say Dallas and Tarrant last time? Well, it is. If we look at that compared to how many closed sales we had, let's look over here. We had about 2,100, and about 1,300 down here. So between the two of them, we had 700 difference for the big counties and about 500 different for the smaller counties, so the suburban counties. So just there in the four major counties, we have a number of thousands of extra homes that are on the market that went on that didn't necessarily close. So that's a really good sign for us. So we'll see here as we look on the month supply. This is the granddaddy, remember. As we look on here, month supply of homes, as we get up here around the 4-month mark, that's when it's a neutral market. We are hardly ever there. Let me go back a little bit further. I'm going to go back 10 years. Only right here in Collin County in June of 2019 did we get to a true neutral market. Let's see if I go all the way back. Okay, so here in 2003, when we started on this system, we had a true seller's market in North Texas. Since that time, no. So, yeah, not even really close. So that's the market that we're in here in North Texas. But let's go back to the months of showing, because this is the real, the month supply. So when we're here, we're creeping back up on 1 month. We really want to be up 2 months if we can get there. It's not crazy to think that before COVID hit, we were up 2.5 or 3 months. That's where we'd like to see, just so it's a little more balanced between buyer and seller power. Now, having it this low is not really good for anyone, and the reason is this. If you're a buyer, obviously you have to do some crazy things, going above appraised value, going above listing, waiving off some of those protections that you have in case the house isn't worth, well, worth is a questionable term there, but if the valuation is not what you're paying for it, and at the same time, you would say, well, that's great for people who are selling. Well, I can tell you on the newest HowardGroup listing we've had a couple of buyers back out, and it's not for anything wrong with the home. It's one of them got cold feet, and then one of them, they were looking between two different houses, and they just determined that this is not, I don't want to go as far as I want to for this one, so they back out, and all of a sudden the sellers are getting, a little bit raked over the coals here because they haven't done anything wrong, but the buyers backed out. It's a tricky market right now, and who you work with is more important than ever. We've had really good success here in HowardGroup, and if there's anything we can do to answer the questions, if you're considering selling now, remember with us, we have a few perks on our team. You can respond down below if you get this in an email. If you're looking on social media, you can just message us from Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are. You can just send us a message. But we have special things that no one else takes care of in listing. You're going to be paying for between 3 and 5%, between 3 and 6% to sell your house. Usually it's 6%, and that's 3% of the listing agent. Now, I'll tell you this, with us, we don't take that for granted. We know it's a really important thing for you all. So we take care of, obviously, all the normal things like your marketing, all your top-notch photography. We don't cheap out on that. We take care of staging for you. We pay for that so you don't have to. And then we also pay for the deep cleaning for your house. We schedule that and pay for it so you don't have to worry about that. And then beyond that, we send you out to our private lake house out in East Texas, on the #1 bass fishing lake in the nation. That's Lake Fork. So we don't charge you for any of that stuff, but we know that this is a huge investment of your time, your money, your energy, your resources, and we want to make sure that we honor that. So if there's anything we can do to help you get the house sold for as little trouble as possible, hey, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll answer some questions straight. I'm not going to send you a text or an email or a phone call every single day. Trust me on that. But if there's anything we can do, feel free to give me a holler. Hey, this has been Howard, and I'll talk to you real soon.